Kaplan, how did you feel in there, and especially about Chief Justice Roberts, some of his questions about political power?
Yeah, well, as always, I think the justices asked all the questions we expected them to ask, and we had good answers. And I'm going to adopt my client's question. I think it was good.
The justices will strike down the law.
And I see my cousins.
Again, we are very hopeful that they are. I'm not in the business of predicting what any particular justice will do, but we are very hopeful that they will affirm the decisions of the courts below.
Stand out to you while you were in there that give you that sense of optimism?
I think all the arguments stood out there for me and gave me a sense, as I said before, as Edie put it, that it went well, that it was good.
Questions about jurisdiction. What do you make about the justices and their questioning about jurisdiction? Not to you, of course, but in the earlier part.
Yeah, well, as you probably know, the court added those questions to the case. They're very serious, very technical questions. I think the questioning on that went as one would expect, and it will up to be the court about how they're going to resolve those technical questions. But again, we feel confident that they will resolve the merits of the case. And even if they don't, I think everyone now agrees that Edie Windsor gets her money back from the federal government.
How much sway do you think, you mentioned the House Republican report that when the law was passed, how much sway do you think that's going to have as the justices deliberate this?
I think the reasons why this law was passed will have a lot of influence on the courts, as it has below. This was an incredibly unusual statute. It's not within our constitutional tradition to enact laws like DOMA, so I think that will have an influence on the court.
The court was skeptical to get into this debate.
I did not have that sense today at all. I think the court realizes that it has an obligation to decide the constitutionality of federal statutes, and that's what it intends to do here.
The Chief Justice seemed to be at a loss to understand or explain the change in views, opinions nationwide. Could you address that? Why have more people come around, to acceptance on this issue?
Edie wants to answer that. Go ahead.
I think what happened is, at some point, somebody came out and said, I'm gay, and which gave a couple more people, the guts to do it. And we all lived really behind masks and in closets, indeed. So what happened is as we increasingly came out, people saw that we didn't have horns. People learned that, we were their kids and their cousins and their friends, all of whom were coming out for the first time. And I think it just grew to where we were human beings like everybody else. And I really think that's what made the change, okay? I mean, you guys, I'm talking to you freely. I'd have been hiding in a closet 10 years ago.
At that point, what does it feel like to be here? Can you believe that you're here?
Pardon me?
How do you feel about here?
Thrilled and exalted and humble. Very humble. It's great.
In there, and we don't want to have to wait for the audio transcript. Can you?
I didn't memorize everything that was said. I'm sorry.
Your basics of what you're saying, why this needs to be struck down.
Yeah, the basics are, as I said before, that DOMA is an extremely unusual statute. It cuts across all of federal law. It affects 1,100 different federal programs, from notification of the death of a spouse when someone dies. What it means is that the spouse can't properly be notified and they can't even get the flag on the coffin. It means that gay married couples don't get the benefits of Family Federal Medical Leave Act when they need it. And it means that someone like Edie Windsor had to pay a $363,000 estate tax bill just by virtue of the fact that her spouse happened to be gay and that she happens to be gay. That's unconstitutional. It's unconstitutional no matter what the standard is that's applied, and we're very hopeful that the court will agree.
Do you expect at all that the justices seem to be accepting gay marriage as a fact and more of a matter of how rather than if?
I don't think I was surprised because gay marriage for gay people is a fact. It's a fact in 9 states already. It's likely that it will be a fact in other states as time progresses. And so I don't think there was anything unusual about the justices in the court understanding that that is the facts on the ground today, and it should be the facts on the ground today. Excuse me for all the people who live in the District of Columbia. I'm a New Yorker, so I can't help myself.
What do you make of Justice Ginsburg's point about the unequal nature of marriage. I mean, that seemed like one of the most emotional moments in there.
Yes, I think the court can't help but be affected by the way that this statute writes gay people and gay married couples out of the federal code. It's not just one statute, it's not one program, it's a redefinition of fencing off couples who are married, already married under federal law solely because they're gay. And I think the justices are acutely aware of that.
The pin you're wearing?
Talk about the pin you're wearing.
Can I talk about what?
The pin you're wearing.
Brooch.
Brooch.
Okay. All right. In 1967, in 1967, Thea, first of all, we were driving in a car, and she said, "What would you do if you became engaged?" And I worked with a bunch of people that I loved. We all loved each other. We went out together a lot. I never told the truth. Okay. I never told the truth till 5 years ago when I finally told the truth. But so Thea said to me, "Well, what would you do though if you wanted to be engaged and you wore an engagement ring to work? You know, what would people say?" And I said they would want to know who is he and where is he and when do we meet him. So instead, she gave me this pin, which is a circle of diamonds. Okay, instead of a diamond ring, and okay, that's my pin. I'll tell you, I'm going to try to excuse myself if everybody won't be mad at me. There are a lot of people there who came to see me, and I